Welcome everyone to the program. Let's kick off this afternoon with perhaps what has become a global phenomenon and fear that has gripped world leaders, and it is the activities within the cyberspace and the democratic process, especially elections. The case in the United States in the last presidential election has given the world a second thought on how to handle the issues differently. President Muhammadu Buhari says he is concerned about the new wave of cybercrime and terrorism, which has continued to threaten the positive strides of his administration. The president, who was speaking at the 9th annual investment meeting holding in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, asked all world leaders to come up with proposals to create a digital world that is safe and accessible, as Nigeria has taken the lead in cyber policing in West Africa by working with regional and global partners. He says, quote, "Our public sector reform programs focus on digitizing key operations from procurement to payroll to revenue collections. We are using digital platforms to reinforce our objectives of improving efficiency, accountability and transparency in governance." End of quote. President Buhari made reference to the cyberspace being used to manipulate elections, subvert the democratic rights of citizens, as well as propagate violence. He explains that his administration is working to create the largest digital database in Africa with the nation's digital identity system, which has over 30 million Nigerians and legal residents. Let's get some expert opinions on the issues raised by President Muhammadu Buhari. And joining us via Skype is an expert, an IT expert, Mr. John Obara. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Let's look at some of the implications of the cyberspace and ask, what do you think about it, the Nigerian democracy especially? We know that the president has mentioned that cyberspace has the capability of subverting the democratic rights of citizens.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Yeah, I listened to your comments. It is true that technology comes with some challenges, but we must be careful that we don't allow those challenges to overwhelm us or slow us down. When you talk of democratic processes and IT in elections, yes, there are challenges, but they are not unsolvable problems. We should focus on the bigger picture. Technology can actually help to stabilize elections. If you look at the kind of things we're going through in Nigeria today, a good number of those problems could have been addressed with technology. So yes, challenges come, but they can be resolved.
But another fear, I was going to say, Mr. Barra, that the fear is that it appears to be borderless when we look at cyberspace, the cyber world.
Yes, it is borderless, but it's part of the fun. It makes it easy. For instance, it even means Nigerians in diaspora can participate in elections. Okay. All of this can be controlled. There are fears, genuine fears, but they can be addressed. When things happen, take airlines. You have crashes. But does that mean we will stop flying? No. It means we have to speak to the problem. We focus on what the problem is, solve it, and move on to the next step.
How much can Africa take, control with regards to, cyber world? How much are we utilizing what we have?
Well, baby steps. Like you rightly said, the president mentioned in his speech, in Nigeria, a lot of positive things are being done already in the area of revenue generation, in the area of efficiencies in government. We are beginning to see some of the baby steps. And the next step should really be elections. It is not rocket science. It is something that we can achieve. And I hope we are even able to achieve it for 2023. We can start with the elections that will, the by-elections that would happen between now and then to perfect the process. And by 2023, for the main elections, we should be more confident to use it all the way.
Governance, how we can utilize the cyber world to, in terms of governance in Nigeria, how we can better where we are at the moment.
Well, in terms of in Nigeria, the first thing is we need to, first of all, be determined to do the right thing. and not just play to the gallery. Sometimes the political speech, prevents the real technical work from being done. But if we really want the job done, the initial steps have been taken, and we can just consolidate on what we already have. In government, revenue generation, minimizing corruption. Those are low-hanging fruits from where we are. Using technology, for instance, to minimize the incentive for corruption. When people know that there's technology behind it, it actually prevents corruption from happening, rather than waiting to stop corruption, to prosecute people, make it difficult for the crime to be committed.
All right, I'd like to thank you so much, IT expert, Mr. John Obaro, for joining us on the program.